Welcome, everyone, to this special interview that I have with Dr. Janelle Clayton. I met Dr. Janelle last year at the Conscious Life Expo in February. Now, before I go ahead and dive into the interview, I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Janelle, who will be leading us through a collective Reiki meditation.
Hi, Beth. Hey, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. And I'm going to share the gift of Reiki with you before we get started. And so, there's been a lot of collective fear and anxiety. And Reiki is, universal energy that different healers can channel that we all have, really. And I felt really called to share this with you today. So find a comfortable position. You can set your intention. If there's a place in your body where you're feeling like tense, or you've been like praying for healing, or you need clarity, you can set that intention now. And Reiki, in my experience, in my own healing journey, has worked on so many different levels: physical, emotional, spiritual. So I'm really happy to share that with you today. I'm just attuning my hands with the symbols. And if you are a Reiki practitioner, feel free Source energy, God, whatever you connect to. I want to call in that energy to help us during this session. All right. And as we are focusing on our attention, what we want to bring in, not just this 2021, but to our year, our lives, our communities. We're just focused on that energy as we send it out. All right. And if you feel compelled to move your body or hold your hands in a certain position, you can go ahead and do that at this time. And I get a lot of clairvoyant messages during my sessions of Reiki as well. And one of the biggest messages I have right now to share with everyone, and again, you can take this literal or symbolic, but we're being lifted up to a higher level. We are not just ascending in our bodies and in our soul energy, but in our collective need to grow and connect and create this beautiful new world that we want to be a part in. Okay, so there's a very uplifting energy. Okay. And then I'm going to have you guys put your hands on your hearts and just focus in and really find that area where there was a lot of fear and collective fear as we went to this new year and as we face kind of these global things that have been happening. And sometimes you can just move your body and feel where you're feeling that tension. Okay. And we're just going to ask everyone's healing team to come in and work through those levels so that we have clear minds, clear bodies, clear hearts, and we can move forward. Okay, and now I'm just going to work on the outer energy field and the quantum energy of our soul tribe. I'm really asking for the energy to be lifted and cleared, anything that's negative, anything that's plugged in, anything that could be taking us off our path, causing energetic blocks or illusions from our true and higher self. And just now imagine some light coming in from your crown up to source, up to God, up to the highest level of your chakra body, into the universe, and connect yourself to your higher self at this time. And this is where all of your soul lessons, your power, your strength, your beauty, your original copy, your life purposes, and it's always there for you to access. There we go. All right. Cool. I'm all done.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Janelle. That was pretty awesome. That was a great way to start our interview. So, I would like for you to go ahead and explain what body alchemy is, because many of us are not familiar with what it is. Now, I understand it's a modality that combines the balance of the mind, the body, the spirit, incorporating chiropractic, yoga, nutrition, energy healing, and empowerment strategies. Can you go ahead and speak more to that?
I would love to. So, part of my healing journey was, of course, yoga, and in particular, Bikram yoga. And I took my first Bikram class, my consistent practice started around 2002. And what I found for myself in working with my wellness routine and also just healing really deep levels was this concept of alchemy. And so some people that work with energy or are clairvoyant or, on their spiritual paths, metaphorically, it's like we've had lifetimes where we've come in to perfect these transformations. And so alchemy really speaks to turning, straw into gold, or turning these elements into the most beautiful versions of ourselves. And so for many people I know in the yoga community and on my own journey, that's what yoga felt like. Okay. And there was all these other things that would come up emotionally or physically or community based that would still need healing. And so that's where body alchemy came into my practice, and as a tool to work with people to transform and support the transformation that we're going through on a subtle level and also on a really physical, tangible level.
Now, you said that you went to Bikram yoga training. Was it back in 2011? It's really interesting.
It was 2011. I can't believe it's been that many years. It feels like it was just yesterday. So I was there in Los Angeles at the LAX Hilton, and got to do training, and then also got to come back. I think it was there for 3 years after that. Got to come back and be part of it and be on the other side of it. So
how are you finding that being both a practitioner as well as a teacher has helped you with where you are today and with your message for body alchemy?
One of the things that I get asked a lot in my practice, being in the wellness world and being in these different communities where people are always looking for like the thing that's going to work for them. How it's helped me is having a lot of forgiveness, and also like the idea of preventative. Like I've had a number of things that have happened in the last few years where I knew that my yoga practice, like maybe my body wasn't as healthy, or maybe I got in an accident, or maybe there was an injury. The years of making those deposits into my health bank account through such a great practice allowed me to have the resilience when things do come up. And that's really the key, because, a lot of us came to yoga, especially Bikram yoga, because we were suffering from a body condition, mind, divorce, like whatever it was. And it became this tool. And like, even with those tools, we can be very hard on ourselves and trying to achieve perfection. And so when I sit down and talk to people about their goals or where they're at, or if they've been in an accident, or they want to, really break through something in their life, it's all happening at once. And so really being gentle with yourself and allowing that process to happen, and knowing that you're making the right choices, and yet there are still other things that are going to come up to support you in that journey, is really a key to feeling like integrated in your journey.
Got it. Okay. So I have a really interesting question. I feel that you have so much that you can offer our network, not only as a yoga teacher and practitioner, but also as a chiropractor, somebody who really understands the body, the movements of the body, the muscles, the skeletal system, all of that, all the inner workings of the body. But you also, I personally know, you were born a psychic intuitive, which I find very interesting. So I know I talked about a little bit earlier in the beginning of this interview that it encompasses everything that most of us know and most of us are already doing. You and I had talked about it, how most of us on this network, we think that we're doing everything that we should be doing, but there could be other things that we're not aware of. And I want to go ahead and touch on that a little bit more. If you can go ahead and give us some information on that.
All right, so this is like where a lot of my passion is, and I started to notice, like first of all, yogi people, especially Bikram yogis, people that the 26 and 2, they're extremely healthy compared to the general population of people. So, so it's not like it's not like we're starting with a lot of things, but even in that, like I'll give an example because I feel like this happens a lot. The rib cage can, subluxate or become inflamed. And this area of the body has to do with your rest and digest. It has to do with your parasympathetic. It has to do with your internal organs. And so as we move through the poses and we are milking those internal organs and cutting off blood and letting it rush in and healing, these deep things, one of the principles in chiropractic is that there can be a limitation in the structure. And so just giving a gentle adjustment, realignment, working on the structural system can supercharge those breakthroughs that you want to do in your practice and in your body. And it's not a fault. And I think that's where I meet a lot of people that in their practice, if they're not getting something right or their wrist is hurting, it somehow can become in our minds a block or a fault. Sometimes you just got to get that adjusted and then you can work through that energy more.
I agree. I actually, because of the state of the world that we live in now, as far as most of us working from home, and many of us working from home, I've been sitting at my desk for hours on end, and I started developing all these pains. I ended up finding out after seeing a chiropractor and seeing an acupuncturist that I have two of my discs that were just kind of compacted on each other. Now, if I had that frame of mind that you just talked about, where, okay, yoga is going to fix everything, how come it's not fixing what I've got going on? I did go that route, and I've been a teacher since 2010, and I practiced a few years before that. So, many of us have been conditioned to think that, okay, yoga is the fix all. And we have to find a balance with that as well as everything else. So I think it's really important that people keep their minds and their hearts and their ears open, especially with all the things we've got going on. We've got a lot of craziness going on in the world, got a lot of hurt, and people are looking for hope. They're looking for answers. And I know there are a lot of people who have a lot of questions, and maybe they don't know the kinds of questions to ask. So I know that when you and I talked a couple of days ago, I was thinking, how would someone even know? Like, if they think they're so in tune with their bodies right now, but they're not getting what they think they want, what their goals are, how can they tune in more?
That's a great question. What I see for myself is like, I feel like the voices or the messages or the issue just becomes louder. Like one of the things that I help people with their gift, because I'm going to back up. So just because we have psychic gifts doesn't mean we know how to use them. I compare having psychic gifts to having a Ferrari and you don't know how to drive it, or you don't know how to drive a stick shift. And a lot of the training and putting things into practice are not only doing healthy things and having healthy relationships and healthy communication, but it's also learning what is this energy world and how do I interpret it? How do we interpret it? Because psychic gifts can be the gift of feeling and touch and inner knowing and visions. And so my gift from a young age was visions of the future. So I really couldn't ignore it. If there was ghosts popping up and messages from the other side, or, like that, almost on That's So Raven, I'm getting these tunnel visions of light. I used to think everyone had that. And I'm like, okay, this is just, how do I work with this? But, when it's a really subtle gift, especially of like feeling and empathy and, other things, channeling in other ways, sometimes it can like move, it can not be in our conscious field. because we think everyone else is going through that, but that's not really the experience. And so that's really the first step, is to know yourself and to grow your gift. But when it comes to, blaming yourself or knowing what to do next, the universe always speaks. And for me, it speaks in symbols. Maybe I'll see something on a car, or maybe a friend calls me up and gives me a message, or maybe there's a card flies out of my tarot deck, or maybe there's something on, a commercial or an ad that gets my attention, or maybe my body, our bodies yell when we're not listening to the whisper, we hear the yell. And so the biggest thing, though, is not to judge. This is where not being attached to an outcome or attached to something you've done wrong is really important. And I think, like you said, 2020 is a huge time of accepting where we are and doing the best we can, and just loving that process of it, letting it be a process, letting it be an unfolding. So I would just say, for someone out there that has had a regular practice and they're not making breakthroughs or having a lot of emotional issues come up, that's your litmus test. That's your sign. And look for more signs, and however you perceive energy, let that be your guide to then choose when to have an intervention, whether that be a reading, a healing, body work, different type of thing you do, and then you can start from there.
Sounds good. So one of the things I'm deriving from what you just said is, don't let fear settle in. There have been so many things happening this past year and up until now that's causing a lot of fear. Now, you mentioned tarot cards. I personally know that you use tarot cards, you use a couple different decks to help, I guess, channel some of the messages that you get from people's guides. And I think there's a lot of fear, at least with some of the people I've talked with, around tarot decks and doing readings like that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I can speak to that because I was one of those people. I don't know if you knew that early on. Tarot is just another tool, just like crystals, just like, these singing bowls that everyone's using. It's just another tool. And I did a lot of study with tarot about where it comes from. And, tarot really speaks to like our archetypes as humans. It's a very primal connection. Like, we have these cards like the sun and the moon and, swords and these things that we all can, as a collective group of humans, connect to. Like, everyone sees the sunrise. Everyone knows what the moon looks like. Everyone knows what, daggers or spheres or pentacles or earth. Like, we connect that way. And so tarot is the language of the divine, and it's the language of archetypes in our human journey. And so if you think of it that way, it becomes less scary. But, people have very different religious beliefs, and Oracle deck is like a softer way. If you don't feel comfortable with tarot, Oracle is a softer way to get those messages. But really the key is that it just is another way to confirm what the divine is trying to tell you. It's just another way of perceiving what's in our blind spot of the energy that's swirling around us, because there's so much happening, even just in our system and world. So if people are scared of that, I would say research it. If you don't feel called to it, now here's another thing: if you don't feel called to it, don't use it. You may have a completely different gift set that's working for you and that you need to perfect before that even comes in. But for those of people that are visual or feel called to it, maybe have felt they've had lifetimes of working with this, then you'll be called to it in a really gentle way.
Awesome. Thank you. You just mentioned our inner workings and our body systems. We touched upon how nutrition, obviously, is a big factor of body alchemy. And I know that you are a master with nutrition. You have several patients that you help with their nutrition. Can you give us a little bit more information on that? I know that a lot of us, again, on this network are very healthy, but we could always use a little bit more help when it comes to that.
Thanks. For me right now, immune boosting is the thing I'm focusing on. I do a lot of nutritional coaching, and nutritional needs change profoundly through life, and my training in nutrition and chiropractic, and there was a lot of things I wanted to believe were okay for me that weren't. I just had to literally see, like, you don't have this body style, you're allergic to these things. There were just some hard facts I had to come into to accept as I went to heal my body. But here's the other cool thing. It's like, again, it comes with acceptance and staying open-minded. Your nutritional needs will change. Depleting yourself or trying to starve yourself or not getting basic amino acids, B vitamins, vitamin C, these things that we need from food, it can also be a thing that we program in to make us feel more spiritual. Now, that's not to say that you cannot fast. I mean, there's been times even, in my training, I didn't really need much food. I think we've all experienced that when you're doing that much breathing and you're incorporating energy, you don't really need the same nutritional load as if you're doing something else. And so one of the things I tell people that are really kind of like hyper vigilant about nutrition is, what is going on in your life now? Do your nutritional needs support that? Are you pregnant right now? You probably got to eat different. Are you trying to lose weight? You're going to have to eat different. Are you trying to build muscle? You're going to have to eat different. Do you build muscle easily? So again, it's really, my approach is teaching people from a point of what's going on in your life. We're doing the vegan cleanse, and I have the 40-day vegan challenge. And that was really a passion project, because when people go vegan or want to eliminate meat, a lot of times they eliminate a lot of nutrition they need and feel depleted. And that's why they can't keep it up. That's why they'll start a cleanse and can't keep it up, or start a juice regime that they've seen and they can't keep it up. So whole nutrition and goal setting is going to determine, what's going to be healthy for you. And I like to do that work with people. So I would say to someone that is not feeling, if you have a lack of energy, or you're seeing your skin and hair not look vibrant, or you're not having good bowel and bladder movements, or you see a coating on your tongue, toxicity, bloating, this is the time to assess, well, what are my goals? And do I have the time to change and the energy to change? And what am I doing that I might be thinking is healthy, but it's not helping? So it's a lot of insightful and peeling back those layers.
Awesome. Now, I am also interested in how lunar cycles and even the zodiac has to do with body alchemy.
Okay, well, this gets very complex, because even in the yogic path, there's like a whole science to just astrology, when you should do certain poses. But for the average person, meaning us that are, I just say us in the yoga world or wellness world, we want to do something good for ourselves. We have really been having a lot of eclipses. I'll speak to this year because I think everyone can relate to even the last 3 months. There have been a ton of eclipses. There have been a ton of astrological events that will leave us feeling depleted if we are not aware of how to supplement ourselves. And so, with the full moons and new moons, it's really important to get magnesium, the trace ions and elements, to really balance your brain activity as well. And I'll give a free tip. It's like, drink coconut water, lemon water, and doing movements that involve opposite sides of the body neurologically is going to bring down that anxiety. And so that's part of the alchemy of, like, again, subscribing emotional fears or spiritual fears to something that is physiological, or completely ignoring how you're feeling to achieve a result that you think should be, helps you ascend or helps you reach these goals, when a lot of it is teaching people how to work with the cycles of life, their body, knowing when, we're human, so we're going to feel different things throughout different cycles on Earth, and really connecting into that gives us a lot of resilience and energy.
Great. Well, we talked about lunar cycles. We've talked about the zodiac. We've talked about the inner workings of the body. We've talked about yoga. would you be open to doing a collective reading for the people who are viewing right now and people who are going to be able to view this
Absolutely.
later? That's awesome.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. Hmm. Absolutely. All right. So I called
I know
everyone's
you've got a
screen.
couple different decks, Janelle. Which deck or decks are you going to be using?
You know what? My life as a psychic reader and just being, connected to my guides is always funny because I had everything lined up. I was like, this today we're gonna do this and that. And they actually had me download a new app and I'm gonna order the actual cards because I don't actually have these cards yet, but I was eyeing them online. But this is called the Good Tarot. And I'm just going to show the opening. It's by this psychic named Colette Baron Reed. She's an amazing, she has so many card decks out, but I'm actually feeling guided to use this for the messages. So I will be using these. I'm going to pull one card for the collective. And, if you have a reading with me, sometimes I use cards, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do huge spreads, sometimes I don't. It really is spirit led. And so spirit led me to this one today, and I'm just going to go with it because when I don't go with it, it doesn't turn out good. So
Okay.
for whatever reason, they want me to use these. Okay. A message for the collective. So I'm going to give the clairaudient message first, and then the card's going to support that. So it's shuffling right now. Okay, clairaudient message for the collective. Who needs to hear this? There is a deep heart healing happening. Okay. We've been activated, and I'm sorry if my voice changes because when I channel, my voice changes. Sometimes I make strange faces, like it's a whole thing. So, so you can just enjoy it. The collective can enjoy that, but it's like we that are on the threshold, have had so many things happen, and people want to give up, and people are angry and scared. And it's not just on the physical level. Okay. This is in the other dimensions. And what they're asking us to remember is two things. We have to be heart led. So that may mean that people are disappointed. It may also look like walking away from things that we really want at this time. This is going to bring the energy, especially into the spring, of building this rainbow bridge. And they want me to speak about the rainbow bridge. And so the rainbow bridge is really about this age of Aquarius and about each of us using our activations and our gifts to come together and be that continuum into the future. So you may be so set on one thing. You may be so set on one path, one spiritual gift, these one things that we've maybe you focused on for years. It's changing. It's changing at this time. And I see it in a lot of light workers and in a lot of spiritual communities and health communities, yoga communities, where people may have been doing one type of thing or one type of modality. That's going to change. We're getting called up to, it's not just to expand, okay, but it's to remember. It's to remember that we have to come together as a collective, and that the choices you make need to be, it has to be heart centered, because things aren't going to make sense until it is. Okay. And that heart centeredness is about everyone having a seat at the table. Archangel Michael steps in. It's about protecting those that we don't agree with. It's about children, especially. It's about these new lives that are going to come into this world, and what kind of world are we birthing? And so they're saying we have started on this path. We've started with our family and our friends and our tribe. Who is in that tribe? Do you need a new tribe? Okay. So this is all happening simultaneously, and you have to enter through the door. You cannot carry anything with you. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card. This card is Oh, Justice, card number 11. So this is, the good tarot. So these cards are representing the classic tarot, and they're really, really beautiful. I don't know if you can see that in my thing, but we got the Justice card. Okay, and this is Libra energy. This is air sign energy, but it's just also collective justice, which is what a lot of us have been wanting, in our lives and, in our society. Okay, and so justice speaks to the law of cause and effect. It's at play now, and you can see elements of this in life. What goes around comes around. I'm now seeing evidence of this law and conditions of the world. So yeah, so if you're wanting to see the things turn in your favor, do the right thing, and that is the heartfelt thing. It's not the popular thing. It might not even be the thing that we're taught at home or in our families, but there is a deep need to connect with the heart.
I've got a request. With it being January and Capricorn season, can you do a reading for us Capricorns? Me being one of them?
Absolutely. I haven't done my monthlies yet for YouTube, but Capricorns, you guys have been popping up. You came up in January or into December, and then those cuspy Sag Capricorns, there was a lot of messages. So Capricorn, this journey of this journey is going to be about partnerships. Okay, that's a big thing for Capricorns, and many Capricorns in the collective, the energy of the collective Capricorns. Listen, people, I'm just going to say it. People let you guys down. People, it could be friends, families, jobs, but there's this need. Capricorns always find their way to the top. They are that goat that, you guys are the greatest of all times. In a lot of your industries, you've worked hard, you've mastered these skills, and you are on the back end of the zodiac, meaning you've perfected a lot of qualities that other signs are still learning. You've perfected emotions, you've perfected transformation, you perfected justice and healing and body and communication. So, last year, I have to go back to last year with this time last year, we had the Cancer Capricorn eclipses that pretty much rocked everyone's world and brought in 2020. And so as a collective Capricorns, you guys have gone through a series of tower moments. You would find a series of restarts. And there is this feeling, there's no going back. And so I would just say, if things come up in your life, okay, Capricorn, I'm hearing from the collective Capricorn guides, if things come up in your life, especially this week where people want to come back around or give it another try or have forgiveness, don't do it. Don't do it. And so a lot of Capricorns are going to be tested. Like, wasn't that great? Wasn't this fill in the blank? Marriage, friendship, business, fill in the blank. Wasn't that great? No, it wasn't. Because you guys got put in second place and you're meant to be the leaders of the zodiac and in your lives, in your communities. So that is the message for Capricorn. Okay. And you guys got your own card. I just shuffled the deck. You guys got King of Earth in the deck. So, that you guys are an earth sign. So really what I'm getting is really embody this energy, like take no prisoners, take no BS, and you've given everyone all the chances they're going to get. So, okay. And so this deck speaks King of Earth, enterprise, philanthropy, ability to attract abundance and wealth, manifesting, and a reliable leader. Okay. I have trust and faith in the invisible and know it will manifest in the realm of form the way I need it to. Opportunity can be found anywhere. Okay, they're highlighting that. Okay, opportunity can be found anywhere and everywhere because I am competent and committed. I am ready for abundance to manifest now in the world of conditions in a form that is aligned with my highest good. I manifest all that I desire, consciously aware of the need to stay focused and grounded in the everyday work required. Wow, it's really beautiful, Capricorn. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. So we're a little bit over just past the hour. Are there any other messages that you have to share with our Global Yoga Network?
I would just say, you guys, Global Yoga Network, everyone that's part of it, you guys are on the forefront. I mean, you're building that rainbow bridge. You're on the forefront. We've done the healing. And so now it's about coming together, and it's going to be really fun ways to come together. I really feel for the collective of light workers out there that it's been really hard. It's maybe been, years, could be 10, 20, 15 years of these things that have felt like you've had to master them. And because of that, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to move very quickly. And don't be afraid to reach out and build community.
I got a really important message from a very dear friend of mine just yesterday saying, don't be afraid to dream. I kind of forgot that along the way. So I'm going to continue to dream. I'm going to continue to be my Capricorn self. And I want to thank you so much, Dr. Janelle, for joining us today. So awesome that we have this technology where we can do this. I know you're not here in LA anymore, and we can connect this way. For everybody who's watching, either during our live right now or watching later, you can come back to the link that's in our Global Yoga Network. We also went YouTube Live on both Dr. Janelle's YouTube as well as mine. Feel free to post any questions there, or you can message me or Balwan or even Dr. Janelle directly. She has a wealth of information. We hope that you enjoyed this. I'm going to go ahead and post some links so that you'll know how to find Dr. Janelle on our Global Yoga Network. Thank you, Dr. Janelle, and thank you, everybody, for joining us today.